So here we are at Earlsbourne Wind Farm, which is partly as a minority ownership from Fintry community, which owns a single equivalent of one of these big turbines at 2.5 megawatts, which is generating an income into the village. At the moment we're paying our own way. This hasn't been gifted to us, and after about 11-12 years of paying that off, the income will then be solely as profit into the village. Over the last few years we've been getting around somewhere between 30 and 60,000 pounds a year on average as clear profit. This is into the village of Fintry, which has perhaps 300 households, and when the debt's paid off we should be looking at possibly 10 times that amount. Here we are this is the Fintry Inn, the heart of the village of Fintry, which has about 300 houses. This pub is unique in the village, at least, in that it's been set up as a not-for-profit cooperative for people in the community, and that followed on really the initiative and momentum from the development of the wind turbine and the establishment of the development trust, which has given people an interest in perhaps being more in charge of their own destiny than was previously the case.
So we have our own brewery, the Fintry Brewing Company, which make real ale for us. So the benefit of being able to keep the pub open is that local people can be employed here, so the money stays in the village, which is great news for everyone.
Hi, I'd like to say hi to everybody at Stradbroke Island. Nice to see you. I've lived up here for 17 years. The windmills have been up, I've not had any problem with them. Where I stay there's a good cover of trees, so there's been no sound and it's been quite good.
Any benefits to the community?
Any benefit? Well, basically we've had the insulation done in the houses. You can get grants for like log burners, solar heating, all things like that through the Fintry Development Trust.
And is that because of the wind turbines?
That's because of the wind turbines, yeah. That's the village sponsors one of them.
So when it came to the financing of the project, the wind turbine, 2.5 megawatts, about £2.5 million, there wasn't really that sort of wealth in the village at all. And there were a few discussions really involving most of the village as to what was the preferred model, and at this time, it was about 10 years ago, there wasn't a hard and fast way of doing things, but already at that stage there were opportunities for community share buy-ins and so on being discussed. The village really rounded against that, feeling that that was actually quite exclusive, that people without money wouldn't be able to invest and people with lots of money would invest and do rather well out of the project. So that was pretty much turned down by the group, and we were able eventually to secure basically a mortgage. We were able to get surety for the sum of money against the power purchase agreement, which is a measure of the creditworthiness of the power company that was going to buy the electricity from the turbine. Unfortunately, that means that we can't use our own electricity. What it does mean, however, is that we get money, and while the loans are being paid off, we get in the region, depending on how windy it is through the winter and so on, but on average somewhere between 30 and 60,000 pounds a year clear net profit, and that goes into the development trust. When the entire loan is paid off, which will be in probably about another 5 or 6 years, about 11-12 year loan period, that should increase tenfold, also allowing for energy prices to go down as well as up, but that's the expectation. So we should be looking at possibly profits, income of about £500,000 a year, which to a village of 300 houses is quite exciting as a prospect.